Anakin Beats.
Hello and welcome to Can't Smash, your unlicensed, unofficial PlayStation channel. Right, so this week was mental. Since the last trailer and demo dropped from Capcom, I did a video talking all about the tall lady, and wow, did it go down well. 10k views in 48 hours, and for a small channel like mine, that's unbelievable. Enough of the soppiness though. In today's video, I wanted to summarize everything we know so far about the characters and the story, having pieced together as much info as possible from the demo, the trailers, and the wider internet. So let's start with an interesting one. Let's talk villains and the hierarchy. So looking at Mother Miranda, this looks like an overarching nemesis of the game and someone who's hell-bent on getting Ethan's baby and having her take part in the ceremony. We don't know what the ceremony is yet, but what I do know is it's likely going to get pretty dark and it won't be one for the faint-hearted. More on this a little bit later. Moving on to who we do know, Lady Alcina Dimitrescu and Heisenberg are two foes who will definitely face off against during the game. They make up part of a wider consortium made up of 4 houses, 2 of which go by the names Dimitrescu and Heisenberg, whereas the 2 others are House Beneviento and House Moro. We have yet to see who those characters are, but I'm sure we will do very, very soon. A part of me actually thinks that one of the houses will actually be good and act in Ethan's favour, kinda like the Zoe character we got in RE7. And I personally think this will be the Mermaid House, House Moro, but this is just a guess for now. I have a feeling it'll be this lady right here. We see her a few times in the first trailer, and she's also seen here caring for baby Winters, which indicates to us that she's probably one of the good ones. We've all seen her visibly distressed at what's happening around her, which isn't really a trait of the usual villains of the Resident Evil series, so I do genuinely think this theory has some legs. Of course, this is just my initial insights and I might be wrong. Next, we can discuss the 3 vampire daughters. They've been seen to accompany the tall lady a lot, and there's a lot of questions about whether they're actually related to her or not. From the demo, we know one is called Miss Daniela, and she is known to be incredibly pleasant, having slashed a maiden's face over nothing. Whether they are her actual daughters is not clear, but I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. I actually think the dynamic is something very similar to that of Dracula and his 3 wives, who all used to consume infant children to maintain their youth. Wow, Resident Evil is so pleasant, isn't it? Further to this, the Dimitrescu family is known for taking people down to their basement to punish them, where it looks like they either torture them with these weird masks and awful devices, or they stuff them in barrels so they can drain them of their blood, used in the making of the tall lady's famous wine. They also do some kind of experimentation on girls, likely kidnapped, as we can see on this note found in the demo. We don't know what they're doing as part of these experiments, but what we do know is that 3 of the girls tested positively. So there's a few people in my comment section who said that these 3 could be the daughters, but I don't think so. Given we know one of the girls is called Daniela, and that's not one of the names on the letter, I think it's unlikely that these 3 girls would be the vampire daughters. So in that case, who are these girls and what was done to them? Next up, let's talk story. So we've already touched on aspects, but essentially this takes place after the events of RE7, and we see that Ethan and Mia have moved to Eastern Europe to a very isolated and gothic village to try and move on from the horrors of what they faced at the Baker residence. Personally, if all hell broke loose and I got stuck in the middle of nowhere like they did in the last game, I wouldn't be moving to Eastern Europe. I'd be moving to somewhere pretty densely populated so I don't get stranded like that ever again. But maybe that's just me, maybe it is safer, I don't know. Anyway, here they have a baby girl who they named Rosemary, and all is great in the world. They're living happy lives and it looks like the scarring events of RE7 and Evelyn are behind them. That is until Mia is gunned down by none other than the series hero Chris Redfield. Chris shoots her in the chest and then leaves the house, as we can see here, taking baby Rosemary with him. So do you guys think that Chris is acting on behalf of the greater good in this case? I don't think so. I very much so think he's under some kind of mind control, similarly, but not the same as, the kind of control that the Bakers were under in RE7. I think someone like Mother Miranda, for example, set Chris on a mission to go and bring back this child to a village. How else can we explain that Chris takes the baby and she ends up in that village. I expect that if Chris were to actually do this acting on his own or with official orders, she'd end up in a lab or some secret umbrella compound somewhere. Seems a bit fishy to me. We've yet to see why Rosemary is important, but the common consensus among the fans is that it's likely Rosemary is a mutant of some kind actually born with the virus in her DNA. And I'm referring specifically to the virus here that consumed Mia in RE7. It's likely there are some remnants still in her blood and they could be passed down to the next generation. That said, how would Mother Miranda find out all this information and know about Ethan and Mia? Even breaking this down further, why does everyone know who Ethan is, like his reputation precedes him?
Well, Ethan Winters. There you are.
He's not all that, you know, bruv. He's no Leon. The last thing I want to touch on in this video is the image they showed in the original RE8 showcase, and that's this one. You may recall that they mentioned that the dev team debated dropping this in fear that it'd be too far into spoiler territory. But frankly, no one has made any solid theory from this. But some points that I wanted to call out. So firstly, starting from the outside, we have a nest. Then moving in slightly, we have 4 feathers. Before I used to think these feathers were those of a crow or a vulture. But having played the demo, I actually think they're very reminiscent of what we can see hanging from these bags in the cellar. I have no idea what's in these bags, but it doesn't look human to me or like any bird or animal I know. Coming back to the image, we see that the 4 feathers are clamped into a golden frame which surrounds what looks like a mutated, potentially dead/undead fetus. Perhaps this is the first natural born tyrant in the making, or something else equally sinister. Either way, I think the creator/parent is none other than Mother Miranda. I think she needs the blood of an infant to bring this fetus to life. And what better infant to use than the one whose blood contains the dormant virus passed on by Mia down to Rosemary. My theory is that the ceremony in question is there with the aim to bring life to this fetus and bring about the next true evil to hit this world. What do you guys think? Would love to hear your thoughts and theories on this. We had loads of comments from everyone in the last video and way more thirsty comments than I could ever have imagined. But honestly, I love interacting with you guys, and you'll notice I try and reply to almost all comments. Anyway, as always, if you like the video, then drop a like, and if you really like the video, just a reminder that I'm a super small channel, and most of YouTube doesn't even know I exist. So hit that subscribe button because we're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. See ya!